Welcome everyone to another episode of JavaScript 101. We're going to get into some really interesting stuff today that adds a lot of sophistication to our programming. We're going to be talking about functions. Functions are so useful. They allow us to do things that would be really just difficult to do without. And they make our lives as programmers much easier. And at the same time, let us do much more interesting things. Functions are basically a collection of instructions. So what we can do is we can sort of package up a group of instructions, a set of code, and say, this is something we want to do possibly more than once. And so we package it up, and then we can run that set of code anytime we want. We've actually seen functions before because what we've got with our default template here is when we run the script, it runs a function that I called my function. So this is actually a function already. It's just that it's been all we've done, and so it seemed like the entirety of a JavaScript program. But actually, it's just one function that we've set up. Let me try and explain it with an example. Let's say we've got we're making a computer game, and we want a character who can jump. They're going to be jumping a lot throughout the game, and we don't want to have it that every time it gets to a point where the character needs to jump, that we need to reprogram that section. So what we do instead is we'd create a function called player jump. So we do that just like this, function player jump. We put brackets at the end. That's how we show that it's a function. And then we use these curly braces, and everything inside the curly braces is what will get run, is what's included in the function. So we'd have something like set direction upwards, begin moving up. We'd need gravity to take effect so that eventually they start moving down again and eventually collide with the ground, at which point they'd stop moving because they've landed. So obviously it would be a bit more complex than that, but we might have 4 lines of code or maybe a bit more for player jump. And all we have to do when the player presses the space bar or whatever, the control to jump, is we just say player jump, and it would automatically, it would automatically move down here and run all of these instructions in one go. So being able to group a set of instructions into a function is really useful. It means we don't have to program the same thing over and over. So let's do it. Let's create some functions. I'll delete that because that was nonsense. Let's start by making a very simple function that calculates a random number. In a previous tutorial, I explained how we can use math.random to calculate, to get a random number between 0 and 1. So it's a decimal. Might be 0.24, might be 0.98, whatever. Incidentally, notice it's got the brackets at the end. This is a function. Someone else, the makers of JavaScript, have already programmed a function that will generate that random number. It's probably a few lines of code, I don't know, and it gives us back that random number. So we've been using functions like this all the time. Alerts, prompts, they're all functions. So let's add something to it though, because getting a number between 0 and 1 that's a decimal is a little bit, is not always what we really want. So I'm going to make a function that will give us a random number between 1 and whatever we choose. So we might say it could be between 1 and 100, or it could be between 1 and 10, or whatever we choose. So I'm going to delete that and make a new function. So we declare the function with the keyword function. It needs to have a name, so I'm going to call it, so I'm just looking at my notes here. Where is it? There it is. So I'm going to call it get random max, because we're going to be able to set a maximum for it. Then I put the brackets like I said before, and then the curly braces. Now these brackets tell us that it's a function, but also inside the brackets we can take parameters or some kind of variable or information or data can be fed into our function. So we are going to take in a max number, so that when we run the function, we can choose what the highest number that this can be will be. So let's do it. So we are going to, inside this function, inside get random max, we're going to create a new variable and we're going to call it random number. And that's going to equal a random number. So we'll use that other function that we've already learned about, math.random. And all we need to do, first of all, is just multiply that by whatever we want the maximum number to be. Multiply it by max. So if max is 5, math.random could be 1, in which case it would end up being 5. If math.random was 0.2, it would be times 5, that would be 1. So this will give us that range of numbers, but it'll still be a messy decimal. Not sure if I'm explaining all the maths terribly well, but as long as you copy out what I'm typing, you'll get the same result. And really what I'm just trying to teach about is functions. So we've got this set of instructions that we can use. Now that's still going to give us a decimal number. I don't want it to be a decimal number, so I'm going to take random number and I'm going to use another function on it. I'm going to use another maths function, and it's ceil, short for ceiling. And what that means is it rounds up. So 0.2 would round up to 1. 1.9 would round up to 2. Whatever decimal number it is, it'll round up to the next whole number. And I'm going to say random number. So what this is doing is it's taking our variable random number and it's changing it. We're assigning a new value to random number, and we're actually telling it to take its own value, its original value, round it up with math.ceil. At the end of all that, we should have a whole number. Random number should be a whole number between 1 and 5, or 1 and the maximum, whatever it is. And so what we want to do, we want to use another keyword, which is return. And we're going to return random number. And what that does is it says after we've run this function, after we've executed this code, it will send back random number. Okay, so we've finished our function here. When the button gets pressed, this doesn't get run though. This function doesn't get executed. Instead, this one does. But what we can do is inside here, this can be sort of our main function that we're running when we press the button, and it can go and look and run other functions. So inside here, we'll start by creating a new var, which we'll call, I'll call it maximum, because I don't want to use this word max, which means it's short for maximum. I don't want to use the same one because that can be confusing. We want to always have unique names. So I'm going to say maximum, and I'm going to do a prompt. Notice I've used these brackets. So prompt is a function, and I'm feeding in the information of what I want it to say in its function. The prompt is, what do I want to say? I want to say, what is the, I'll just say, I will calculate a random number out of, and then the user can type in whatever number they so choose. And then I want to report what that random number is. So I'll do an alert to do that. And inside the alert, I will run get random max. So instead of typing in what I want the alert to say, I'm just going to run this, and it will automatically return random number and put that into the text field of the alert. So I'll just type it on a new line first, just so you can see how to run it. It's very straightforward. You just type its name, get random max, and then inside these brackets, we want to feed in what's the maximum number. Well, the user chose something called maximum. So we're going to feed in maximum to that. It will, if the user types 5, it will feed in that 5. So now this word max, this variable max, is 5. And that will be used throughout the rest. So this needs to go inside the alert. I was just typing it separately so you could sort of see what it looks like, because it starts to look a bit complicated with multiple brackets. But now we've got an alert, and what text does the alert show? It shows get random max, and we're feeding in whatever the user said. that's it. Let's save, let's refresh, and let's run the script. I will calculate a random number out of, I've been using 5 as an example, so let's hit 5. Okay. And it gives me a random number of 1. It does exactly what I wanted it to do. I'll keep going. 5 gives me 2. You can see it's giving me a random number. It went up to the maximum 5 that time. And if I run this over and over, it should give me an even distribution of 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s, and 5s. Had everything except 3. I could keep going forever. Ooh, still haven't had a 3. I'm just going to keep... Yay, we got a 3. Oh my goodness, that was nuts. So we have demonstrated that we can have all the numbers between 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So that worked. This function, this ability to calculate a random number between a whole number, between 1 and whatever maximum, is something that we might use in all kinds of situations. There's lots of times, if you're making a video game and you want an enemy to do a random amount of damage, say, then this will let you do that. Anything where you want a random whole number with a ceiling, with a maximum limit, this will be useful. So having this function handy and being able to refer to it at any time, you might want to do it over and over again up in your main code, saves us doing these 3 lines of code over and over again. I'm going to give you another one for free. This one has some pretty complicated maths, but I'm going to just tell you exactly what you need to write, so you've then got that and can use it anytime you want. So let's make a new function, because we can have as many functions as we wish, and we're going to call it getRandom. This one we'll call min-max. And this one will take in 2 parameters, min and max. So this time we're going to make it so that it doesn't just set a maximum, but it can give you a random number within any range you choose. You can choose a minimum number and a maximum number. So I'll keep going with the example of a computer game, and you might have an enemy who needs to be able to do a certain amount of damage when it bites you or something. And you might want to say, well, I want it to do at least 10 damage, so I want to set a minimum, but I never want it to do more than 25 damage. And so you want to give it a maximum, and then it can be a random amount between that. I'm not going to explain all the code here, the maths here. I'm just going to type it in and you can copy along, and then you've got it for any time you need it. So we want a variable called random number, and this equals math.floor. So this time it's going to be rounding down, and then inside the brackets here we're going to say math.random, a random number, times another set of brackets, max minus min plus 1, and then bracket plus the minimum. Okay, so nice long bit of code there. As I said, I'm not going to explain all the maths of that. It took a bit of trial and error, and in the end mine wasn't perfect, so I used a tutorial to solve that one. But if you copy that out exactly, you've got now a function that you can call anytime you want that will do that for you. I've just seen I'm running off the edge of the screen, so I'm going to press Alt-Z, which is the shortcut to get it to wrap the text and fit within the window that I've got available. And at the end, same as last time, we want to return random number. And that's the end. So up here, I'm just going to comment that out because I don't want to do that right now. I'm just going to... what I'll do, rather than getting the user to prompt it, I'm just going to program it in. I'm not going to ask the user to set the minimum and maximum. I'm just going to say, for my code, for my program, with my monster that's biting you, I know how much damage I want it to be able to do, between 10 and 25, or I might set a smaller limit. So all I'm going to do is, I'll do an alert so that we can see the result. And inside the alert, same as last time, I'm going to get random min max, because that's the name of this function. Inside the brackets, I'm going to say, I'm actually going to do, I'm going to set it really small so that we can see the result. 10, 11, 12. I'll do 10 to 12. So it should be giving us a random number between 10, 11, or 12. And end with a semicolon, save, refresh, let's run. 10. Let's run it again. 11, 11, 10, 11, 12, 11, 11. Oh, I've messed it up. You could see, there's 12 again. So you can see that I'm getting that range. But of course, like before, we could set any range we want. We could get, between 50 and 100, and that would work as well. Let's save that, refresh and run, and we've got 62, a number between 50 and 100. Okay, I'm going to show you one more. It's the same basic idea. I'm going to comment that out. It's the same basic idea, but so far we've done two ways of getting random numbers. You can do whatever you want with these sets of instructions. I gave the example of jumping before. I'm going to do one more, which is to calculate the area of a rectangle. That's something you might need to do quite regularly, depending on what program you're making. So let's make a function called calc rectangle area. Now, hopefully you know to calculate the area of a rectangle, let's use this big white rectangle over here as an example, all you need to do is multiply the width by the length. The length of one side, the value of one side by the value of a second side. So we'll take length and width, and we'll use curly braces to put our code inside. And all we need to do is say, we'll make a variable called area equals L times W, length times width, and we'll return area, spelled correctly preferably. That's it. Now that's such a simple function that you might not even necessarily need to wrap it up in a function like that. It might be something you could just run in your main bit of code. But sometimes, and especially, if you started to have more complex calculations you're trying to do, it can be really handy to have a function already made that you can use at any time. So let's do that. This time we will prompt the user. Var length equals prompt. What is the length of your rectangle? Question mark. Then we'll do var width, prompt, what is the width of your rectangle? And then we will do an alert, and inside the alert we will calc rectangle area, made it a bit long, and we'll feed in the parameters length and width. So these variables that we input are what we're feeding in, which become L and W, which get used in this formula. Then area gets returned, and that's what will be displayed. Semicolon at the end, save, refresh, and let's see if it works. What is the length of your rectangle? My rectangle is 5 centimeters long. What is the width? It is 3 centimeters wide. So now we should get 5 times 3, because that's what happens down here and gets sent back there. 15. Or we could even make that, let's make it a little bit better. Let's say the area of your rectangle is plus. So now it'll put it into a sentence. Let's save that, refresh, and just make sure that one's working. What is the length? 5 centimeters. What is the width? Let's do something different. Let's do 7 centimeters. Okay. The area of your rectangle is 35 centimeters squared. Ideally would say that, but that will do for this session because that was a pretty long one. Functions, so useful. As you start building up a collection of functions, you'll find your code gets more sophisticated and easier to use. Have fun, enjoy programming with functions.